In the last few decades, technology has constantly evolved, and generations have witnessed the various transitions and transformations of how content is created, gathered, and consumed by the masses. One of the successful and ongoing development that has brought curiosity and interest of sci-fi fans, and mostly those who watched the Steven Spielberg's movie Ready Player One, is virtual reality, or VR. Before we dive into the mystery world of this newest technology, what is virtual reality? In the Merriam-Webster definition, virtual reality is an artificial environment which is experienced through sensory stimuli, sight and sound, provided by a computer, and in which one's actions partially determine what happens in the environment. So no need for pressing buttons and to point and click wherever you are. Instead, a VR headset is used to track the head and eye movements to allow the user to fully control and immerse themselves in the environment. The big question is, will VR be the substitute to real-life experiences? Well, yes and no. Here are some well-known facts. Virtual reality proves to be a technological advance in sections of social communication, education, entertainment, and work industries. Compare it to a mobile phone with various apps. VR is an enhancement and an added layer to not only consuming the content, but a full-on immersive experience. In the entertainment industry, virtual theaters, music concerts, sports, and tourism allow users to witness and to absorb information instead of stepping outside of their home, which would usually require consumption of time and budget. Gaming industries have come a long way with VR, where the level of engagement and interactivity for players increases each year. In relation to education or career fields, where in-person training for course learners proves difficulty due to tight scheduling and traveling time, VR became a solution for allowing instructors to meet with their students via VR and online technology. It also proves useful to educate medical doctors in real-life scenario training. An experiment conducted by Neurons Incorporated in partnership with Facebook, where a group of 60 participants ages 18 to 51 are placed in a virtual setting, such as an interior of a train car, to meet and have a conversation with each other for the first time. They are monitored with an EEG headgear to measure their optimal and cognitive levels. The results were positive, and the participants find themselves at ease and fully engaged in the environment. Most of them describe it as a casual conversation where they can communicate authentically and express themselves with less anxieties. Adding to that fact, medical researchers and scientists have found that therapy sessions using VR allows patients to experience their phobias or fears without placing them in the actual environment. Although it won't result to a full elimination of the fear, but instead it will increase the person's instinct for survival. This method is still in development, and therapists, researchers, and scientists are finding new ways to gain more access and allow this technology to be cost-effective for people to use at home. With that said, there are still current limitations of what VR can offer. One example, VR is not programmed for other sensory inputs, such as smell, taste, and touch, although it is a possibility in the next 10 or so years. VR also cannot fully replicate the experience and emotions connected to the environment. It is a technology created from man-made experiences or memories. People can have different perspectives of the same experience. A philosopher named Robert Nozick created the thought experiment in his book Anarchy, State, and Utopia, titled The Experience Machine, which pointed out that most people prefer reality than to experience it in a machine. For example, seeing the Niagara Falls for the first time in the virtual world will not be the same as witnessing it in real life, having the sense of fear and excitement. Like I said, everyone has their own preferences. Another example is that VR has not yet reached the level of accessibility, affordability, convenience, and cultural acceptance by the masses. Businesses and marketers continue to evaluate the cost/profit and how far it reaches to the mainstream. Like when the internet, computers, and mobile phones were first discovered, VR is still at its early stages. There is also an underlying ethical issue with data collection of users, such as biomechanical identity theft and privacy concerns. By tracking the eye and body movements of users, a company can easily collect 95% accurate information of your identity, which is kind of scary if you think about it. Looking at the current events, now where the world is battling against the COVID-19 pandemic and implementing measures such as social distancing, I will not be surprised that many of us long for social connection, physical activities, and to travel and experience nature. Thus, virtual reality can be a good solution to take us out of isolation without physically leaving our homes.